This video features the use of dangerous tools, hazardous chemicals and sharp knives. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, my rods are stiff. I have had enough.
Why are you complaining all the time, Gordon?
Because I'm a big blue engine, and I know everything. I shall complain whenever I want. You're just a small red engine with ideas above your station.
I can't see any.
Any what?
Ideas above the station. The sky is empty.
Like your smokebox, Percy.
One day I'll show you just what a big engine can really do.
So what can a big engine really do?
Not speak to silly little green engines for a start. At last.
Indeed. Driver tells me your pipes are clogged. You will go to the works tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I am a very important engine. I should be admired, not stowed away to the works.
Don't you worry, Gordon. Everyone will be too busy admiring my red paint to notice you're gone.
Rubbish. Hurry up. Mind my paintwork.
Yep, very well, Gordon. We'll soon be finished and you'll have a fresh coat of paint for the morning.
Oh, lovely. I am the finest engine on Sodor. Probably the finest in the world.
Yes. Come on then. It's a nice long run to the big station.
I've got the oil. Oh, where's he gone?
I am the finest engine on Sodor.
Your brakes are too stiff. We can't stop.
Oh, no.
Blue is the only proper colour for an engine. Just look at me, sparkling in the sunshine.
I've always been green, and I wouldn't want to be any other colour.
Pa, blue is the only colour for a really useful engine. Everyone knows that.
If you say so, Thomas.
Be careful in this siding, Percy. These buffers don't look very safe to me.
Oh, I'm sure they're fine.
I'm choking. Get me out of here.
Oh no! Thomas, you don't look really useful now. You look really disgraceful.
I am not disgraceful. You did that on purpose.
Relax. At least the buffers stopped me. I'm sorry, Thomas. We need to clear this up before we can get you out of this siding. Percy will have to take your train. Who'd have thought it? Fancy a really useful blue engine like Thomas becoming a disgrace to the Fat Controllers Railway.
Just you wait. Soon you'll be laughing on the other side of your smoke box.
Look at you, Thomas. Looking clean and smart for a change.
Come on then, Percy. Let's get you a drink.
Huh, what was that?
Oh dear. It's your brakes. Stay calm.
At least the buffers will stop me. Oh no!
At least the buffers stopped you. Silly old Percy.
Come along. Oh, calm down. There's plenty of time.
Careful now, little Thomas.
I'm tired of pulling and pushing coaches around for you. Why can't I pull passenger trains too?
You're too impatient. You're sure to leave something behind.
Rubbish. You just wait. I'll show you.
Oh, I feel so ill, sir.
Don't worry, Henry. We're doing our best. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, Henry.
Achoo! Oh dear.
Poor Henry. Who will pull his train in the morning? Oh. Well, maybe I could do it. But I do hope he feels better.
Oh, Thomas, I don't feel good at all.
I'm sorry, Henry. I'll get your coaches ready. I'm sure you'll feel better soon. Come on then. Henry is ill. I may have to pull you today. No, we hope not. I think I'd do a fine job. Maybe the Fat Controller will let me pull this train. I actually can do this. I can pull this train. What, him? He's a bit small, isn't he? I should have kept that to myself.
What seems to be the problem out here?
Henry is ill, sir. He can't pull the train.
Well, find another engine.
Well, there's only Thomas.
Thomas, can you do it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Very well. Off you go.
Now, Thomas, don't be impatient.
Yes. I know.
Oops.
Oh, calm down, Thomas.
Here we go.
I can pull this train. We've left them behind.
So what happened?
I don't know, sir. Maybe I was too impatient to listen.
It's very possible I pulled the lever by mistake.
I'm sure I heard a guard's whistle. Well, whatever happened, I started. People waved and shouted as I passed by. It felt so good giving my wheels a good run. But, you've forgotten your coaches then? Yes, sir. I think I've left them at the station.
Not to worry. You best go back quickly and fetch them.
Oh dear.
Don't worry, Thomas. Let's go back and try again.
Here he is, Thomas. Welcome back. Oh, now he's back.
He looks very sad. That is a sad train. He should have told us the first time. Shut up, Archie. Get on the train.
Oh, look, there's Thomas, who wanted to pull a train but forgot about the coaches.
You trucks have been very good to me lately. Let's keep up the good work and get this job done as quickly as we can.
The sooner you empty us, the better. We're sick of all this coal. Here, Dave, have you seen? The railway is now listed on the stock market. Indeed, mate. It puts pressure on us.
Moving coal is now more important than ever. I'd best make sure I get these coal trucks delivered quickly and on time. I don't want to upset the Fat Controller. Come along, let's make good time. I think we're making good time. Oh, I hope there's no delays.
Oh, I'm so bored.
Cheer up, Percy. The Fat Controller says we've got to be here again tomorrow. We've just got to make the best of a bad situation.
I'll try.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. Percy, green and small. He's no use to us at all. Around the yards he'll huff and blow, but on the hills he's oh so slow.
Be quiet.
Oh, that was so good.
What's the matter, Percy? Nothing exciting ever happens. That's what's the matter. It's just coal, and trucks. Excitement is surprising. You never know when it'll happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't be exciting. Doodle beep. It would be surprising if something surprising happened.
Oh, look who it is. Oh, we want another engine. You are far too slow.
Be quiet.
Too slow. Here all night, tomorrow too. Hold back.
Oh no!
Surprise. Catch us if you can.
Got to catch them.
Quick, stop all trains. We have to stop the trucks on the hill.
Right.
Come on then. The chase is on.
Quick, put the wood down. Oh, phew, we've done it. Good thinking. Great job, Bertie.
Well, what did you think of that, Percy? A good chase is always exciting. It was certainly a surprise. Thank you for your help, Bertie. A really useful engine should never be surprised by surprise. Oh, it is peaceful by the sea. Oh! Diesel, what are you doing here?
Your worthy Fat Sir Topham Hatt has decided that you need my help again. I'm not surprised.
What will the Fat Controller think? He won't like it.
So who's gonna tell him, I wonder? Two little goody-goody telltales like you, I suppose.
Well, I'm not a telltale. No, neither am I.
Those two will soon be gone when I tell the Fat Controller what a mess they are making. Uh-oh.
Things worked much better here before you arrived.
It wasn't me. It was them.
I shall send you home, and I won't be inviting you back. Hello everyone! Another week, another short. This one has been intense, but it's here. I want to give a huge thank you to James. He came to stay for the week and we powered through this one. It took 5 days to film and edit this one. So you probably know it already, but what's the story here? A Better View for Gordon is an episode in the 5th series of Thomas and Friends. This episode was the debut of Kirk Ronan. In the original episode, Gordon complains about the lack of a good view, and after he crashes through the wall, he gets his own panoramic view. This story is based on a true event that occurred in Paris in 1895. This event was also depicted in the film Hugo. A fun fact, after the crash, the loco remained there for a few days before being rescued. So how did I do it? I've made a video already on how I made the big station. I won't rehash too much of it here, but a quick recap. Now I don't have the patience or time to make multiple big stations. So I settled for Teignmouth, and Teignmouth only. I knew I wanted to recreate this crash, so worked the story towards that. I didn't want to have a blank wall at the back, so I removed the panoramic view story element. I'll admit it's not as strong without it. I took inspiration from Kirk Ronan to have the town at a lower level. Using the cricket, I cut the buildings out of plastic card and used the Pico canopies for the station. The platforms were built from foam core, and I used a wash to highlight the brick texture. I 3D printed windows and doors and filled the gaps using micro crystal clear. I created the night lights using LEDs and 3D printed lamps. I designed the front of the station, which is the lower level access, cut it, and then used the white-yellow wash. The backs of the station only face one way. They're removable, so I can get shots like this, but also so they can be turned the other way to face the town below. Since Gordon was going to be smashing through the window, I needed to make a breakaway version. I used a spare print and smashed it to bits. How delightful. This way I could have bits fly out when Gordon crashed through it. The big station has many removable parts. The buildings, the roof, the back walls. This makes it quite fragile. Since I was going to be ramming Gordon into the back wall, I needed to make sure it was secure. I created lips out of foam core for the breakaway back wall that could be hot glued. This stuff is evil, so it wouldn't move. Once in place, I added the station entrance and glued that to the board as well. I created a little town below using Hornby Scaledale Great Waterton buildings, and even added some little people going about their day. They were glued down too, for fear they would fall over. For the crash, I haphazardly glued all of the little pieces of the window together and added some ballast, weathering powder and turf on top of the entrance so that Gordon could throw them off the roof when he crashed through. The rails in the station are of course below platform level, and although I had originally decided to smash up the platform, I decided not to because too much. I therefore needed to create a higher level for Gordon to run along. So Gordon. I'll go into more depth on how I made my Gordon another time, but I'll tell you a little bit about the stunt Gordon. I knew it would be foolish to throw my resin Gordon off the building, so I opted to use the Backmo model. I painted him in the same blue, and my good pal James did the lining. Since he was crashing through a wall, I bent his lamp irons, made his lamp wonky, and weathered him. I put a load of weight in him to make sure he hit the ground with a thud. I glued the face as well, so it did not fall off, and everything was ready for the crash. If you'd like to see the outtakes, of which there are many, they're on my Patreon. The crash took hours. The fall didn't hit right, and each time it went wrong. I had to clear the ground, re-glue the windows, reballast the roof, re-weather Gordon, and do it all over again. It was very time-consuming. But I got there in the end, and I'm glad I did. Hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed this little adaptation of Thomas, Percy and the Coal. This story, if you didn't know, comes from the Railway series book More About Thomas the Tank Engine by Christopher Aldry. Fun fact, it was actually written because Britt and David needed more Thomas stories to adapt for the TV series. At the time, they were only allowed to use stories from the Railway series, so this one was specially created to help keep the show rolling. In the TV series, the coal incident is shown using a hopper, which makes for a really fun sequence. But for this project, I wanted to stay a little closer to the book, though I still took a few creative liberties here and there. Overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I set the story at a branch line station instead of Tidmouth. I began by laying out the tracks, curving the branch line around the yard so that the departing train could be seen in the background. I also made sure the coal mishap happened at the same buffer stop. In the TV version, the unsafe buffers are actually two separate incidents, which I find a little bit odd. Then again, on Sodor it seems like no buffer is ever truly safe. Once the track layout felt right, I added grass mats and a tunnel portal at the end of the set. For ballast, I used Woodland Scenic's coarse grade. Then it was onto the scenery. I started with some fine turf around the track edges, a blend of light brown, dark brown and black. Platforms went in next, followed by some line-side details. I actually stumbled across these perfect coal storage bunkers in a drawer. They work perfectly. After finishing off the grass mats and adding some buildings, I moved on to the bushes and trees. Most of the scenic materials I own are from a fantastic company in Italy called Diorama Presepe, if that's how you pronounce it. Probably not at all, I've probably really butchered it, I apologise. They make some really, really incredible stuff. You should check out their website and definitely get some of their scenics. I layered in different shades and textures, and then added all these fun little details, chains, broken wagon parts, and spare wheels. The tunnel portal, of course, doesn't actually go anywhere, so I just covered it up with black paper to fake the depth. It's not the most elegant solution, but it worked for this setup. If I'd had more time, I probably would have blacked it out a bit more convincingly, or finished it in post. I then added crushed coal, a signal, and it was time to film. Now for the crashes. Thomas's crash was enhanced with a bit of VFX magic. My crushed coal doesn't really kick up enough dust on its own, so I added extra particles and flying debris in post. Percy's crash got the same treatment to really sell the impact. One tricky part with resin prints is how fragile the buffers can be. After filming Thomas's crash, Percy's buffer got chipped and somehow his brake pipe vanished too. Normally I've got spares ready, but wouldn't you know it, I ran out. So I quickly painted up some new buffers and Percy was back in action. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If there are any crashes or characters or stories you'd like to see me adapt next, please let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out my Patreon. You'll get early releases, when they're possible, behind the scenes updates, exclusive videos, and more. Have a look. The link is in the description. Of course, there's no pressure at all. Just watching and engaging with this video means the world to me. Thanks again for being here. Hello everyone. A nice and simple story this week. Thomas's train. As I've already got the big station set up for this video, and you've already seen how I made the big station and Thomas, I'm going to show you a time-lapse of the setup for filming and answer a few questions I have received in the comments. Things can get quite messy after filming a short. The setup you can see here is the crash from a better view for Gordon. As I mentioned in my last video, I had to raise the tracks to be the same as the platform. This meant everything needed to be taken apart again to bring the station back to its former glory. This is why it was paramount I designed the building in such a way that bits and bobs can be taken apart. It was great fun building the big station. I look back on it already and think about parts I could have done differently. I'd love to make some great big arches on the sides of the walls like they have at King's Cross. Ah well, next time. A few of you informed me that the reason the TV series went with Knapford was because the original Railway Series map actually had Knapford as the terminus of the main line. The more you know. At Lionheart LRJ in the comments also raised a really good point about my brick mortar wash fiasco. I could have used a model varnish after painting that initial brick texture, let that dry and then applied the wash. This in theory would have stopped most of it from rubbing off. A great tip to try in the future. My friend Adam at Blue65 Tank also had another good idea. You could spray paint the bricks in the mortar texture first and then dry brush your bricks on top. Funnily enough, I was actually going to try this method, but I thought the wash would, well, I don't really know what I thought it would be. I just had a hunch and went with it, thought it'd be better. It could have been better. I hope to make a more in-depth video about my setup and how I make these videos, as I know a lot of people want to know. As a quick summary though, I operate all of my sets on top of a board that is roughly 3 meters by 1.5 meters, so that's 10 feet by 5 feet. No set I make is permanent. This very table you see in front of you had the coal yard from Thomas, Percy and the Coal, and the hill set from A Surprise for Percy. I built a shed, a home studio in my garden, which is where I film now. I did have a much bigger space earlier in the year, as it was left over from a project that I'd done outside of YouTube. However, the lease was up, and it was time to move on. The space I use is still pretty big though. I can't complain. This does mean the big station's time is finite. I'll try to grab quite a lot of footage on it before taking it down. Like I say, all the bits come apart though, so I could always rebuild it another time. This does mean though, when getting shots like Henry at the shed or Thomas at the signal, I have to make do with the setup I have. Thankfully, I could just cover the buildings with a lovely grass mat, and it felt like we were out in the country. It was kind of cool just seeing what the station would look like if it just had grass. It's quite nice, but I prefer the industrial feeling with the town below. All of my engines are DCC converted. I use Soothe 22 smoke units. As far as I can recall, none of the Bachmann engines actually have funnels big enough for them. Maybe James and then Gordon and Henry. But Thomas, Percy, Edward, the funnels are too small. So if you want to use the smoke units, you do have to get rid of the funnels. Of course, I've 3D printed all of my engines, and the stock funnels that come with those are also way too small. So I have to modify the JMOS file to be wide enough to actually house these smoke units. I've had comments before asking if they melt or anything like that. Nothing that I've noticed, but I was looking at Thomas in some of these shots and I kind of think, yeah, that doesn't look fantastic by his funnel, but the smoke's cool. I use the Hornby Railmaster digital system paired with an E-Link controller. This allows you to create programs for the engines. So let's say at 0 seconds, I'll have Thomas's smoke unit turn on because it takes 5 seconds to warm up, and then 5 seconds in, he moves forward to 15 miles per hour. Then at 10 seconds, I'll have him stop and turn off the smoke unit. These can all be pre-programmed, so all I have to do is hit play, and I'm hands-free. It does it all for me. Of course, the engines never work properly because they hate me, but that's fine. That's fine. Sometimes they do. But it's definitely really useful having the DCC. You can obviously have engines moving at different speeds all over the place. It's just all the lines are just wired together as one. It's very good. I very much enjoy it. But that's pretty much all I've got for you today. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below. The reception to A Better View of Gordon has been insane. I haven't been able to reply to all the comments yet. I will get there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. For those who don't know, The Mad Bomber is a Thomas the Tank Engine parody video created by Leo Kim Video in the early 2000s. The video was made using Ertl Thomas toys with wheel conversions so they could run on HO track. I remember absolutely adoring this video when I was younger, even entering the competition way back when. I was recently rewatching this video and thought it would be extremely fun to make a little snippet from this special. You can find a link to the original Mad Bomber video in the description below. I started off by filming in the coal yard. This is actually just a yard set with a few large black rocks and some then crushed up coal scattered across the board. I hope to one day make another really big coal yard like I did when I made Put Upon Percy, but for now I only needed something small just for this sequence. I even put Cranky in there just because he's cool, he looks great. The coal chute is actually an adapted sort of railway crane. I used some old structures from my old Tidmouth sheds and also painted one of these kind of kids fidget toy things black, and it kind of looked like a pipe that was going into a coal chute. Then for this close-up of the truck, I just sort of drilled a hole into the base of the crane and then just had some really finely crushed up coal dust and poured it through the hole, and it looks like it's being loaded from the chute itself. Then we get to the countryside. This is still the same set from James and the Trouble with Trees. I knew that because I was going to be dealing with explosions, I didn't want to melt any of my nice bullhead track, so I took these two out and replaced them with some cheaper, rustier, straight tracks that I didn't mind if they melted a little bit. I then dressed up the set and all the scenics so that it looked nice and pretty. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that little recreation of a surprise for Percy. It feels so good to be properly filming again, and don't worry, there is plenty more on the way. So let's talk about how I built the set. I kick things off with the hill, since that's the key part of the episode. I made it using 2 thin sheets of MDF, with one of them stacked on top of an old box to give it a bit of height. Yes, it's probably too high, but it makes the visuals more interesting, right? I screwed the incline board down about 5 to 10 centimetres in from the edge to create a gentle slope, which helps it look a little bit more natural. Next up was the track. I laid down the flexi track and pinned it in place. With that done, the hill was really starting to come together. Then I moved on to the little village at the base of the hill, where Bertie would meet Percy. I played around with the building placement until it looked just right. I then added some walls, some line-side details, and started putting down a few of the grass mats. Once that was in place, I ballasted the track from the village all the way to the hill. I then started adding the scenic elements,
bushes, scatter, that kind of thing. For the village area, the bare wood as the road just wasn't going to cut it. Eventually, I want to make some modular road pieces that I can just drop in, but for now, I kept it simple and I painted the visible area grey. I also sprinkled in a bit of sand for texture. After that, it was full steam ahead on the rest of the scenery. And finally, the set was ready to film. Now, fun fact, Percy actually can't make it up that hill. It's too steep for him. So I ended up using fishing wire to pull him and the trucks up. I then edited it out in post. Movie magic. This video was an adaptation of the Diesel Does It Again story from Series 3 of the television series. It's quite a lot shorter than the episode it is based on. For this dockside set, it didn't feel necessary to use real water, so I've simply used cellophane on a blue card. I think that from the camera's perspective, it works quite well. I of course did use real water on this set, as we needed those splashes when the trucks hit the water. In the episode, Diesel pushes the trucks off a pier that goes out into the sea. I've decided to take some creative liberties here with this dockside instead. It was a little easier to create and meant I could have some big splashes from the trucks as they hit the water. I needed something for the water to sit in, so I found this large plastic tub. I attached 2 wooden beams from the table to securely hold the tub in place, and then I found a small offcut of plasterboard which was just screwed into the side of the table. To cover the screw holes and add a bit of detail to the dockside, I added these 2 strips of balsa wood. I then painted the entire piece grey and let that dry. To give it some more texture and detail, I made up various shades of grey, with some with orange, some with green mixed in, and after mixing them with water, I used a sponge to dab it onto the board. I wanted this to feel a bit weathered, a bit used. There wasn't really much rhyme or reason to this, I just kept dabbing until I was happy with it. I then made the yard that would lead to the quayside and got working on adding the water. Now the set was ready for filming. Diesel nearly fell into the water. Thank goodness the random hand was able to save him.
No Sodor fleet is complete without Thomas the Tank Engine. Over the years, I've had a few different Bachmann Thomas models, some of which I adapted with rather funky funnels, either too long, bit mangled, or slightly wonky. This is because the soothe smoke units I install are too big to fit inside the pre-existing funnel, so they have to be removed and replaced. I used to use a plastic straw, but this time I unlocked a new mode, 3D printing. Originally, I only planned to build Oliver and Duck for Oliver's cliffside collapse, but Caleb Train rightfully convinced me to take a crack at the other engines. The design for the shell was created by the LBSC Thomas and then was 3D printed. Initially it appeared to have warped slightly, probably due to less than ideal print settings. To fix this, I tried heating the resin and sandwiching it between two wooden blocks. This wasn't very effective, so we decided to add bars to the design for the next print. If you know how to fix 3D print warping, please let me know. Then came the never-ending sanding and filling stage. After priming, even more blemishes were revealed, so it was back to sanding, filling and repeating the process again. The running board was primed with Tamiya Primer Grey, and then the sides were covered in Tamiya's Brilliant Red. Caleb and I had a little trouble finding the right blue for Thomas. We tried one that was too dark, and another that was way too light. Eventually, we landed on Tamiya French Blue. I was still a bit unsure, but more on that later. Next up was the lining. Ideally, I wanted the lining to be flush with the loco, so I tried water transfers. But as I mentioned in my Oliver video, I had real trouble sourcing good water transfers. There are commercial lining sheets available in red, but I knew I'd have to find a matching number 1, and I didn't want the number 1 to stick out compared to the lining. I painstakingly tried masking out where I wanted the lining and then spray painting it, but I had an immense amount of paint bleed. I decided it wasn't worth the hassle. After that, it was back to sanding and priming again. This freshly primed Thomas gave me a new opportunity though. I still wanted a darker shade of blue. I tried these two blues, but they were too dark. I then contacted my friend James, whose Thomas model has a very nice blue. He wasn't sure exactly which blue it was though. So, he sprayed Tamiya French Blue and Humbrol French Blue next to his Thomas. The Humbrol seemed a little darker, so I decided to give it a go. The shade was indeed much darker than I initially thought it would be, but I liked it. It was nowhere near as dark as the others I'd tried, and it would better complement the green I planned to use for Percy and Henry later on. It turns out James's Thomas's blue is in fact still Tamiya French Blue, but with a darker undercoat. Once Thomas was in a new coat of blue paint, I returned to the lining and settled on good old-fashioned vinyl. I then got to work cutting the chassis and motor block to fit the 3D printed shell. I modified the 3D funnel to accommodate the soothed smoke units I use. I made sure the hole was big enough for the smoke unit, but that the funnel didn't look too chunky or unsightly. I printed new lamps and painted them white. I then printed a new whistle and painted it gold. And all of these accessories, 3D files, were made available by Jamos Trainos. I installed the new smoke unit and smoothed over an unfortunate crack in his smoke box. He was almost complete, until... This was not good. I glued it back together and I realised it wouldn't work, so I completely recreated the running board. I soon got a face scan of Thomas's smiling face printed, and he finally felt complete. When I started my commissioned Thomas models, I noticed that more updated shells were available, which were a little more accurately proportioned. I also fell back in love with Tamiya French Blue after giving it a much darker base layer before applying the blue. One day, I might revisit my 3D printed Thomas, but since so much work went into this Thomas, I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon. So, without further ado, here's Thomas. Percy has two models released in 00 scale, Hornby and Backman.
The Hornby Percy was actually the first model locomotive I ever owned, a gift for my birthday or Christmas many years ago. I still have him to this day and was using him in videos not that long ago. He doesn't run like he used to, probably tired out from all those races back in the day. A few years ago, I acquired the Bachmann Percy. He's always been a bit temperamental, but when he does run, he runs very smoothly. Recently, I decided it was time to update my models with 3D printed shells. The Percy shell was designed by Noah, the LBSC Thomas, and the faces were created by Andrew, the Chairlord. The 3D printing went through the usual process. Primed, sanded, filled, primed, sanded, filled. You know the drill. For Oliver and Duck, I used Humbrol Lime Green, which is quite a light shade. Since I opted for a darker shade on Thomas, I decided to go with the darker green for Percy as well. I used Plasticoat Garden Green. The wheels were masked and painted, as was the shell. The running board was primed and painted red. Percy was starting to take shape. Next, I worked on the chassis. I needed to modify it quite heavily to fit the 3D printed shell. The original Bachmann Percy chassis is quite chunky and needed to be cut down. The pickups also needed to be moved from the running board to the chassis block. I'd actually made similar modifications when working on my not so amazing lady model years ago, so I was ready to give it another shot. It looks a bit messy, but I wanted to retain as much of the original plastic as possible to keep the chassis block secure. I painted the bunker black and the dome gold. For the lining and the number 6 on its side, I used vinyl. The smoke box was split in half to make way for the smoke unit, then glued back together and painted black. I added buffers by James Tranos, screw links by Hornby, and lamp irons, which are pins, to the running board. After rewiring Percy with his DCC decoder, I ran a quick test in my messy work area and was pleased to see that he was working great. I decided to use the original Bachmann Percy cab roof to help conceal the internal wiring. Finally, the buffers were painted and I lightly weathered him with black Humbrol weathering powder. He was ready for filming.